Hi, I'm Randy Hollenbeck, and this is the Music Roundtable. Today on the show, we have post-hardcore band Speaking in Tongues. How you guys doing?
Pretty good. About yourself?
I died away, during my sea of hate. I become numb to the death. Sitting behind my teeth, is it enough? Is it enough?
If you want to just start out by going around the room, just say your name and what instrument you play.
I'll start here. I'm Brett Metz, and I play bass guitar.
I'm Alec Thomas. I play drums.
I'm Michael Dulick, and I am vocals.
Could you tell me a few of your musical influences on your instruments? What influenced you to play your instrument?
Start, Michael.
Oh, absolutely. So, for vocals, at least for this band, Chelsea Grin was one of my biggest influences, especially starting out as far back as high school. Always a big fan of Motionless in White. Periphery was, of course, another big one for me. A lot of the Warped Tour bands growing up, of course. But as far as the actual singing part, we could even go back as far as nu metal, like Evanescence and Korn, Papa Roach. I like
Park, obviously.
Of course, yeah, oh yeah, and just trying to bring those a combination of sounds together is something that I love to try to bring to this project, at least for me.
Basically, everything you grew up listening to, like metal-wise, from the late '90s to into the early 2000s to 2010, pretty much that's what we listen to on a daily basis, and that's where our focus is.
Yeah, 100%.
For me as a drummer, I'm kind of the oddball, I'd say, in the group because I like a lot of progressive metal, like let's say Dream Theater, Porcupine Tree, bands that kind of people don't really listen to in our genre. But I do like I said, I kind of go back to the nu metal, Linkin Park, Korn, Slipknot, even go back to the '80s, Metallica, Megadeth, stuff like that. So I like to be very well versed, but I like to also bring something different to the table, especially in the post-hardcore scene.
Yeah. So for me, I grew up listening to a lot of that late '90s stuff, Linkin Park, Slipknot, and Korn. One of my big influences on bass is Ryan Martini from Mudvayne. He is a phenomenal bass player. But honestly, when I really fell in love with metal was in 2012, 2013 when the Warped Tour scene core era came around. So I listened and had a lot of influence on Asking Alexandria, Moths to Flames, A Day to Remember, all of those real, emo scene bands from the early 2010s and stuff like that. So that's pretty much where I'm at with my influences.
Can you guys tell me how you formed this band? How you guys all came together?
We've been making music together for a really long time. I met Michael whenever I was 13, and we just, I'd go over his house and we would record and make videos and stuff like that. And I met Garrett even younger, probably 12 years old. Garrett is our guitar player. He's the one that influenced me to even play instruments because I was into metal and so was he. So we kind of bonded in school. And then he showed me that he played guitar and stuff, and I thought that it was the coolest shit in the world that somebody can play, especially how old we were. We were fucking 12 years old, and he was shredding Bullet My Valentine stuff. And I was like, I want to do that. So I picked up a bass, and bass was easier than fitting a drum set in my house. I lived in apartments and stuff like that. So picked up the bass, and me and Garrett, started making music together. Started making music with Michael. Formed a couple different bands throughout the years just as teenagers. And then, let's say Michael, Garrett, and Chris all started a band together, and I was living in a different state at the time.
Yeah.
And I came back, started playing with them, and then I actually joined what is now Speaking in Tongues with a second group of my friends. And we all started doing a different side project, and I really liked where that was going, and everyone kind of gravitated over to that band or that genre of music that we were trying to create, and
that would be Speaking.
Yeah, some of the old ones got weeded out, stopped doing it as we got older, 17, 18, and the ones that were still wanting to do it are ones that are here.
Yeah, and then we came in to fill up this lineup, and then we did the record that's coming out now, and it's been a long road up to this point, but it's the five of us now.
Just a collection of high school friends, basically, just playing music together on the weekends, and
I didn't even. I knew Chris, our other guitar player from school. We went to school together. We were in marching band, jazz band, all that fun stuff, and then one day the drummer couldn't make a show, and he was like, "Hey, you want to fill in?" And I said, "Absolutely," and then. Rest was history. So
he's been in the band ever since.
Yep.
Couldn't make a show, and then pretty much stopped playing. So we got Alec just kept playing with us.
How did you come up with the name for the band?
We get asked a lot. That's like an old thing because when we were young, that was one of the first band names that we had kicking around. And my buddy Sam, that I started the band with, he came up with that. So don't really know the background story behind it because. It's just a name that stuck, and we never really dropped it because we had that name for like 6 years, and it was like I said, my buddy Sam, who's in a different band now, and he came up with that name, and it pretty much has just been that ever since.
What city are you based out of?
Pittsburgh, PA.
We say Pittsburgh as our closest regional area. We're a little bit south of Pittsburgh.
Yeah,
but we're, we play mostly in Pittsburgh, so we consider ourselves a Pittsburgh local band.
Absolutely.
I wanted to talk about your new song, Leviathan. Can you tell me a little bit about that song?
Ooh, okay. So I can do that. So this song actually kind of has two meanings. It wasn't the first song we worked on for this record, but it's the oldest one from the whole thing because we ended up like in one of the spin-off bands we were in before this.
Leftover riffs.
Yeah, we were able to be like, oh hey, we remember this song. It never really got finished, so let's take the parts we like and change it up. But lyrically speaking, one meaning it's my story into this band where I, my previous little bands, like you'll see like little Easter eggs of like previous lyrics, for those in the 724 area. Yeah, you'll know. But the other meaning is that everything comes full circle. And so when I joined this band, like Brett mentioned, we've all been around the block, with each other in different combinations, before. So when I came, it was like, wow, everything comes full circle. So, and we wanted to tell it in a way that everybody could relate in a sense, because, I feel that everything does, whether it could be short term or long term. And it's funny how things work out. And so we wanted to tell that story of, a beginning of a journey. You lose your way over time. You especially a lot of this song is very dynamic, so we can kind of tell that story a little bit more in a fragmented way. And by the time you get to the breakdown, now you have everything, kind of hitting this dark breaking point, but yet we're all back to where we began, like an Ouroboros in a sense. So, that's the story of Leviathan.
I think to mention too, this was probably the first song you worked on lyrically, because on our first EP was actually a different vocalist. It was one of our friends, Ben. We had a different vocalist at the time, way back in the day. Yeah. Recorded our first EP, and then when we started to really pick up and get serious, Ben started doing different stuff, and then we had Michael come on.
Yep.
So that's really where his lyrics came in, is that it's his first song with us as a band, but he's worked with us previously in the past, so it was kind of like exciting for him to get to come back, and even though it felt like our old band, it was still a new band to him with new music.
Yeah.
So, cool dynamic.
This is the first. Go back to Levi. I wasn't on the last EP myself. I joined right after they kind of finished recording it.
Yeah.
But I was in the band when they released it, of course. So whenever we actually started writing this material, I didn't know any of the previous songs. I wasn't in the circle. So whenever I heard the riff and kind of got the idea of where we wanted to go with it, and like, it feels very metalcore to me. Like I always say, is our Avenged Sevenfold song
Yeah.
in a way because of the riffs. But like that's stuff that me and Chris listened to back in high school. So like it brought us back to those days. So making that song was very fun. It was a little difficult. We had a hard time getting the chorus right. We wrote about 4 choruses to that song.
Yeah,
but once we got it, we knew it was it. So.
Yeah, honestly, like the final chorus you hear, like I think that was done. I think
a week before.
Yeah, maybe like a week before we went to Long Island and recorded it. And honestly, I mean, I love it too because it's I think our most traditional, metalcore, verse, chorus, breakdown, kind of structure as well. So, and it's a perfect first single, at least
it's a good, I think it's a good showing of what
the whole album has to say.
Yeah, and what we're about too, especially now, like as this new unit with Mikey and myself in the band.
Yeah, and even because like anything that we've been able to do after, especially with the new one, Gold, that's a whole different flavor. Yeah, so we wouldn't have been able to kind of really been able to present it if it wasn't because Rebirth, our previous EP, I think was a great starting point for especially them prior, but I Leviathan I think was an even better, at least transitioning into what we're doing now. So pretty cool.
What do you guys got planned for the rest of this year?
Ooh, writing more music, playing more shows.
CP.
Yeah, we have the new record coming out
May 12th.
May 12th. Then we have a release show the day after at Black Forge, McKees Rocks. Really excited for that with Bakasora, King of Nothing, Fellowship, and Forsaken by Society, Valley Boys. But after that, we, of course, we plan on doing a lot more out-of-state shows. We have a lot of new material. We've been playing around with it. We just want to see what's going to end up sticking this new cycle. We're really, really happy with how this release turned out at the end, and so we kind of want to take that and see
what songs do well, see what like reaction we perceive based off of the variety that's on the EP.
Yeah,
and then we're pretty much going to take that response and focus on that with the next cycle and focus more towards what genre, what sound people gravitated towards more.
Yeah.
So a lot of that is just the rest of our year is get booked up with promoting, getting the EP out, doing the EP show, getting everything ready for that, and then just hopping on shows and stuff whenever we can and trying to get the name out there.
What can we expect from this EP?
So
from the EP in the whole.
Yeah.
I would say, which I'm pretty proud of, is that every song sounds different.
Yeah.
It's a mixed bag.
Yeah, you hear that from every band, but this EP is literally a variety pack. It's, I mean, yeah, at its core, it's metalcore, post-hardcore, but from the very beginning of this EP, when you hear it, I mean, we bring in a whole death metal, groove metal flavor mixed with what our traditional sound is, and then of course you have I Leviathan and Gold, but like there's gonna be we bring in other tunings and other different keys and different styles that not only that we didn't get a chance to really do in previous, but stuff that we didn't even really think we were like, oh yeah, like I didn't think I'd be able to do like a deathcore song when I was a kid. Like now here I am.
Yeah, there's a deathcore song like that'll have that flavor to it. There's a hardcore track which is basically gold. You got your metalcore song, your post-hardcore. It's a flavor of everything that you would pretty much hear when you just say what is metalcore.
Yeah, there's no really way to define the CP as a whole. Like it was written over. We started writing this during the pandemic. Like legit, like probably April or May of 2020. And we took about May to November really writing the CP. So we would just jam a lot, and we would just come up with ideas, and we would just like kind of just keep tacking on. Like I said, Gold is a good example of how different I think that this EP stands out from like Rebirth, because Gold is legit me and Chris writing Slipknot mixed with thrash metal, and then slicing a little bit of a deathcore breakdown. Like that's kind of how mixed our thought process was. So we were just kind of throwing stuff at the wall and seeing what stuck, and then a lot of the oddball ideas really stuck pretty well.
Yeah, the ones we thought weren't going to perceive well are perceiving better than we thought. We thought the more radio sound was going to pick up, and Gold is doing really well on YouTube. People are loving that song, and that was one of the ones that we were kind of nervous to throw out there because it's so different.
Yes.
But a lot of it too, I got to give credit to our producer Billy Pfister, who did this album, because when we brought it to him, he helped us with a lot of the fine tuning. Like throw this here, there, this should come back. Like the ear catching stuff that we might have missed out on when we were writing, he helped us really bring it all together full circle. And it's a really cool record when you listen to it from front to back.
Oh, absolutely. So the short answer is catchy choruses, hard riffs, and heavy breakdowns.
Yep.
Okay. How can we get a hold of you guys? Facebook, Instagram, Twitter?
Yep. TikTok as well.
Facebook and Instagram. Facebook primarily. That's where our focus is on Facebook and Instagram. We have our email on there. Our link tree's on there. I'm personally pretty active on all of our inboxes, so you pretty hit up any of those and you'll get a response.
Yeah. All five of us are pretty on that. So.
And it's Speaking in Tongues.
Yep, Speaking in Tongues. Speaking in Tongues PA on some socials, but mostly the Speaking in Tongues or Speaking in Tongues PA. I think Speaking PA on Twitter.
Okay. That's all the questions I got. Thanks for coming on the show today. Is there anything else you guys like to add?
Sorry for rambling if we were a little, off the wall with our questions. We don't do many interviews, so we're still getting our feet wet when it comes to talking publicly. So we're like, we're metalheads that hide in our room and write music. So whenever we answer questions, it kind of can get awkward, but we're trying our best. We really appreciate having us on here. It means a lot just to be able to talk to someone and share, what we created. So we thank you a lot just for giving us the chance to say something about it.
We are honored, and for everybody checking us out, thank you guys for your time. It's been a blast putting music together with the guys. Can't wait for even more.
Check out our EP on May 12th, and hopefully we see somebody at the show on May 13th.
Defy, May 12th.
See you soon.